Cole.
You're kidding. Just one shot?
They're not all zombies, Doug. How do you fight this thing?
Maybe we could drown it in A1 sauce.
Well, sometimes that is better. The person you put up there ain't the person that comes back.
It's a dance song to get down with. About 6 feet under. Get down.
Ooh, I love this song.
And now we come to the thrilling final episode of our radio drama.
Hello, and welcome to episode 267 of the Rotten Views podcast. Thank you, everyone, for showing up to another new episode. If you're a returning listener, thank you for showing up each and every single week. If you're watching on the day that drops, or if you're watching later on in the week, I appreciate you guys so much for making the time to check out each episode. And if you're a new listener, thank you for picking this movie of all movies to come check out the podcast. Hopefully you'll check out the back catalog, because if you're looking up this movie on a podcast app to talk about, or if it just happened to fall into your feed somehow, you have probably really bad taste in movies, or you have a sick fetish of putting yourself through really stupid movies to watch. And if that's the case, then we could definitely be friends. So with that being said, today we are sitting down to watch Microwave Massacre from 1979. It's free to watch on Tubi, and I think there's also a copy on YouTube as well. I've watched this one twice. First time, I wasn't really paying too much attention to it. It was in the background while I was working on some artwork. And then the second time around, I'm like, this voice sounds familiar, and we're going to get to that in a second for the lead actor. But first, before we do get too far into the podcast at hand, let's do a little bit of housekeeping like we like to do each and every single week.
Housekeeping?
Don't think you're sleeping.
Housekeeping?
Could you come back in an hour?
Housekeeping, you want towel?
More towels. Need sleepy.
Housekeeping, you want mint for pillow?
Please go away. Let me sleep for the love of God.
Like I like to ask every single week, if you guys are, depending on whatever podcast platform you're listening on, even if it's YouTube or if it's a Facebook video or whatever it might be, just hit that share button. That share button does help out a lot. It helps grow the community. It's late at night right now. It's like midnight, and I got an energy drink. I had a coffee earlier, but we're going to power through this. It's a short movie anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. But back on track, what I was saying, if you could just hit that share button on whatever podcast platform you're listening on, it helps grow the community, helps get the episodes out to new ears and eyes and everything else. And we just want to make a community of like-minded people who all enjoy the same thing. But of course, if you're on Spotify, feel free to leave a star review as well. If you want to leave a 5-star, I appreciate it so much if you did. If you want to leave a 4-star or 3-star, that's fine too. If you want to leave a 1-star, shame on you, but I'll accept it, and I'll play you in a Dead by Daylight game where you can be the killer, because I don't like using the killer, and I'll be one of the 4 survivors, and hopefully we'll get out and survive. My luck with that game lately has not been that good. That's besides the point, because I'm new at the game. Feel free to leave a review, though, if you're on Apple or iTunes, whatever it might be. I'm not an Apple user, so I don't have anything to do with it. If you're on CastBox or whatever other podcast platform, if there's a review section or option, feel free to do so. If not, just leave a comment or hit that share button. Like I said, the share button helps out a lot. And if you want more free content, hours upon hours of free content, make sure to check out all my links down below. Find me on all social media accounts at Typhonsign. The main things being X, Threads, Facebook, Instagram. But the main thing is that YouTube channel. We're getting closer and closer to 1,000 subs over there, and it's a pretty cool community, pretty cool people over there, so definitely go check it out. We got the weekly game video dropping every single Wednesday. Old episodes of the podcast drop every single Monday. I have various shorts over there as well. I've been trying to catch up on doing live streams. Hopefully going to have some new setups as well, some emotes and whatnot as well. So we're working all towards everything to make a well-oiled machine. So hopefully it will happen soon. That's the end of the year game plan, at least. So also make sure to check out the Rotten Reviews podcast Instagram page as well, where I post the On This Day in Horror posting. We also do them in the community posts on YouTube as well, or on the Facebook page as well. So if you want to check it on any of those preferred sites, depending on whatever your preferred site is, you can find them all there as well. And if you want to support the channel a little bit more, if you want to check out the TeePublic link down below and buy some merch. I got the podcast shirt. I have my Predator Charlie Brown shirt is up there as well. And there's also a John Candy design up there as well. I'm not going to announce what the next design is until I have it more fleshed out. But it's going to be a cool one. And hopefully I can get it done before Halloween. Because it's a Halloween-related design. If not, I celebrate Halloween all year round. So it's not going to make a difference. And hopefully you guys will too. The last thing I'm going to push at you guys and help promote, if you want to, feel free to check out the wrestling-related page that we are running, the CWC Canadian Wrestling Championship page. We're going to be doing some live streams here in the near future as well, and we're going to have some more content coming out. There's more t-shirts and whatnot, new designs dropping soon as well, so definitely go check that out. All the links are down below in the description, of course. And with that being said, let's get back into the podcast at hand. We are here to talk about Microwave Massacre. So Google says 1983 is the release date, but IMDb says 79 is the release date. So it's one of those 2 days. 2 years, I should say. It's a horror comedy for an hour and 16 minutes. It's got a 4.2 out of 10 on IMDb, 33% on Rotten Tomatoes, and 2.2 out of 5 on Letterboxd. 71% of Google users have enjoyed this movie. Initial release date says August 31st, 1983. The description, as read on IMDb. Fed up with his wife's bad cooking, Donald kills her and turns to cannibalism to satisfy his appetite. This one is directed by Wayne Barrick. Apparently, he was the writer for one episode of the 1990 TV show Monsters, which is still on my watch list, or want to be on my watch list or to-do list. But I sadly can't find any good spots to watch it. So hopefully in the near future, we will find a good spot. Maybe it's on a streaming site. I just haven't actually looked it up yet. Maybe. Who knows? In 1983, he was the director for Attack of the B-movie Monsters. That sounds like an interesting one. I probably want to watch that one as well. And in 2005, he played the character Loon in a movie called The Naked Monster. Other than that, he hasn't really done much of anything else. So we're going to move on to the writers for this one. This movie has 2 writers credited to it. The first one we're going to talk about is Thomas Singer, who's also the writer for the 1979 movie Malibu High, and other than that, hasn't done a single thing at all, sadly. The last writer we're going to talk about is Craig Muckler. Apparently he was the producer for Ripped to Shreds, which doesn't have a release date for some reason, as well as the producer for Howard Lake. Same thing, though. No date on it as well. He was the producer of 2018 Speaking Through the Silence, and as well the producer for Microwave Massacre, Don't Go in the Oven, which doesn't have any dates to it either, which is interesting, I guess. In 2025, he was the associate producer for Bite School 2. In 2023, he was the co-producer for Hollywood Werewolf. It seems he's trying to keep that horror love alive with a lot of B movies, and I am totally okay with that because if anyone knows this podcast and knows me, I enjoy a good bad movie. Hell, I watch a lot of full moon features, and not a lot of people like those. I don't mind them. Practical effects is kind of fun, and they're just silly designs and creatures and whatnot, so what can go wrong? We're at that section now, though, where we want to talk about the cast members, and there's not really a lot of cast members I'm going to talk about, to be honest with you. I'm just going to talk about the main cast member, Donald. He's played by Jackie Vernon, and for those that might not know, Jackie Vernon is also the voice of Frosty the freaking Snowman. Yes, Frosty, from the classic Christmas cartoon. I wasn't expecting this at all, and upon listening to it the first time while I was working on some artwork, it never clued in. And then I just put it on one night in bed. I'm thinking to myself, that voice sounds really familiar. And I had to look it up, and yeah, he's Frosty, and he's in a cannibal movie eating his wife and some other girls. But we're not going to go too far into that yet, because that's, we're going to touch all those bases while talking about the podcast. But yeah, he's Donald from 1979's Microwave Massacre. He's also the voice of Frosty from 1979's Rudolph in Frosty's Christmas in July. He's also in 1969's Frosty the Snowman, as well as in an episode of Kolchak the Night Stalker in 1975 playing Coach Tommy. I don't know why I tried to make that sound cooler than it probably needed to be. Also, and his last movie was in 1987. Sadly, he passed away then. He played himself, apparently, in the segment Roast Your Loved One for Amazon Woman on the Moon. He's also in 2 episodes of Chips as well. He had a very interesting career, I'll have to say that, for the time span that he did do things. He started out in the TV show That's Life for 3 episodes in 1968 to 1969, and then, like, I think Frosty was his next big hit, or his big hit, in 1969, and then it kind of just, withered away. I thought maybe Microwave Massacre was, like, his first thing, or one of his first things, but, with Frosty being so old, and me not really realizing, it was definitely near the later half of his career, so I guess he's probably just taking whatever gigs he could probably get, which is understandable and definitely fair, so... It's just very interesting, though, seeing him in this movie, of all movies. This movie does have a tagline, though. They came for dinner to find they were it. Not bad. You'll understand that a little bit later in the podcast. Apparently, the trivia, Rodney Dangerfield was considered for the role of Donald, but his asking salary was too high. This would be a totally different movie if Rodney Dangerfield was the actual lead in it. That's crazy to think. I could see them being similar kind of like people, so I can definitely see it. But it'd be definitely a different movie if that was the case. So, but with that being said, let's get started on the podcast at hand. I know I didn't give you guys any warnings beforehand, but if you're new to this episode, or new to the podcast, I should say in general, I talk about the movies from start to finish and hit all the points in between that interest me. So that means this is going to be a very spoiler-heavy episode, so if you don't want to be spoiled on certain things, feel free to pause it now, go watch it on Tubi, and then come back and listen to me talk about the movie that you just watched, which you're not going to do. So just sit back, relax, listen to me talk about the movie, and I'll either make you want to watch the movie, or you'll just be okay with skipping it. I mean, if you like some bazonkas, you're probably going to want to watch the movie because, they're pretty much right out there in the open throughout the whole movie. Just saying that right now, just so you're aware. It's a dark comedy, horror comedy, parody, slasher horror kind of. It hits a bunch of different avenues in the horror side of things. So this was your warning. You don't message me about being upset because I spoiled a movie that came out in 1979 for you. I don't want to hear it, and I won't reply to it. So I'll just give you the thumbs up, be like, yeah, good job, bud. Anyways, I'm going to get started on the podcast episode at hand. So if you're at home, hopefully you're just sitting back, relaxing. Maybe you're listening to this in bed, help you sleep. I don't know. You may be weird like that. If you're at work, hopefully this helps you get through the day. If you're listening in the car, like I know most of you are, going to work or going out to get groceries or just going on a little road trip, whatever it might be. Maybe you're taking a little cruise down the back roads, looking at the nice fall leaves starting to come in and all that other fun stuff. Who knows? Just keep your eyes on the road where you're going, and hopefully you get to where you're going nice and safely, and don't run over the old person that's probably crossing the road. But I guess if you're in the back roads and there's an old person that's crossing, that might be like the wrong turn character or something like that. So probably drive faster. Watch out for barbed wire across the road too. I've seen enough wrong turn movies. I know how they do it. But with that being said, let's get started on today's movie.
Presents Saturday Night at the Movies, the television series which each week brings you the finest in recent motion pictures. Tonight,
Now, let's see what we've wrought here. Yummy. I think I'll call it filet of femme.
We got the movie starting right out, and we just see this giant ass microwave that I've never seen this design before. Maybe this was the microwaves back in the day. If so, it looks like a goddamn stove, not a microwave, but what do I know? So we're seeing this giant big ass microwave. It's got a big black glass window screen on it, and the music starts to get a little eerie to it, and we start zooming in on the microwave, and then a face just appears inside the microwave, but the eyes are gone. Teeth look really well done, not gonna lie on that one. What the face looks like, it's definitely been burnt or microwaved or some sort, and then the intro credits start rolling in, and then we just see like a basic font, Microwave Massacre, appearing on this lady's chest. She's Lauren Sheen playing Roosevelt, and she's just, strutting through town. We see an ass shot, we see a chest shot. I kind of was curious if she was in any other movies. She's not, just so you guys are aware. Just, save yourself a little bit of the history. At least I didn't see anything that she was in. But yeah, we had the intro credits just literally playing on her ass, and then we cut to it's like this guy driving a backhoe, working on this construction crew, just doing some various things. It just cuts back and forth between the two of them, and she's strutting like she's got a purpose or some place to be or something to do, but she really doesn't. And then we see the whistle blowing. It's lunchtime, so we see a couple of the guys sitting down. And then the third person to come sit down is our man, Jackie Vernon, playing the character of Donald. And he's got his big cooler. And he's getting ready to open it up. And, of course, his wife, May, did not give him anything good to eat at all. But then we cut back to Roosevelt, who's walking down the sidewalk. And there's plywood all over the place to, cut off this construction crew from everyone. But there's this hole cut inside the plywood that it looks like 2 circles, and she's poking her head in the hole, and then next thing you know, we see this guy coming up behind her and grabbing her by the butt, and then next thing you know, you see her chest getting shoved through the hole in the wall. And one of the guys is like, I gotta go to the restroom. I gotta go to the restroom, because he's noticing Roosevelt's boobs are fully through the hole in the fence, and they go running towards her. And then as soon as they get to the fence, he reaches his hand through the hole, and she's gone. So I'm not sure if the guy was getting a little bit frisky with her, and she was just enjoying it, or if they went off to somewhere else. But then we just cut to May getting home. We see the giant microwave box outside, and this microwave is gigantic, by the way. It's the size of a stove, if not bigger. Anyways, May's talking to the dog, Napoleon. He's like, I'm gonna feed you a feast. I don't feed Donald a feast at all, but I'm gonna make sure you, puppy dog, have a feast. Also, Donald's sandwich was a piece of bread, some lettuce, and a giant ass crab that doesn't look like it's cooked at all. Just a full on crab, just sitting there. Full on crap. Then we see Donald going over to talk to his coworker. He's like, hey, fellas. And the one of the guys looking at the crab in his hand. He's like, oh, what do you call that thing? He's like, well, I didn't have to call it anything. It kind of just followed me here. You guys wouldn't have any mayo or mustard or anything to put on it, would you, by chance? Would you like to trade it for anything? Hey, come on, Philip. Trade for your sandwich, please. Come on. That plain old sandwich for this delicacy. And the one guy, Philip's like, I don't want anything to do with crabs. I had enough of those in the army. I don't want them ever again, okay? And then we cut to this bar, and this guy is completely wasted. He's trying to talk to his coworker or his buddy that came to the bar with him, or maybe just a friend that came to the bar. I'm not sure. But the guy's so drunk that he just passes out, and then the bartender is just so tired of hearing this other drunk talk, because he's like, why are you talking so much? Why can't you just shut up? And he's just complaining about his wife the whole time. Sam, the bartender's just like, why are you telling me? Why do I care about your wife or your problems? I don't care about it. Can you just shut up? And Sam points to the license up on the wall. He's like, see that license over there? That's a liquor license, not a shrink license. How about you shut up about your problems? I don't want to hear them. And then the guy sitting beside the drunk, who's also drunk, falls on the floor. And he's like, that's Charlie Farrell. I didn't recognize him sitting upright. I recognize him now, though, that he's on the floor. And it's midday, and then we see Donald and the other construction guys going to the bar, and they're walking into the bar, and one of Sam's girls is standing on a stool to try and fix a sign above the door, and as they walk in, it's just head first at her crotch, and Donald's like, well, hello there, how's it going? So then Donald sits down at the bar, and he's like, hey, Sam, you better make it a double. And Donald's like, you better just don't tell me why, okay, because I don't want to hear about it, alright? I don't want to hear about it at all. So then Donald just starts going on about his wife, being like, why? Why'd she do it to me? I just want a good, nice sandwich, and she sends me a giant crab on some bread. Why? Why'd she do it? She knows I hate it. I don't like this fancy stuff. And then as Donald's talking about his wife and complaining about his wife, Sam's like, hemorrhoids. He's like, huh? He's like, yeah, I got really bad hemorrhoids. That's why I took this job. I got to be on my feet. I got really bad hemorrhoids. I don't know what you want me to tell you. You tell him about your problems, I'm going to tell you about my problems. And that shuts Donald right up. And he's like, I'm going to go sit somewhere else. And then we cut back to May in the home. And this house is definitely a lot fancier than Donald ever needs. Like the white walls. They got that old school 70s gold, orange color all over the place. She's got gold statues all over the place, fancy lampshades, all this other crap. And then we see Donald pulling up. His car is all rusty, the paint's all chipping off. And as he's pulling up, he's looking over at the neighbors, and it looks like they're having some kind of fun threesome of some sort, because the wife gets pushed up against the window, and then the husband comes into the scene, or maybe a friend, I don't know, and completely wearing women's lingerie, and Donald just looks over being like, what the hell's going on? And then he walks into his own home, and May's like, oh, it's you. And then Donald's like, were you expecting someone from the house department, maybe? What do you want, May? So he gets to the newspaper and gets ready to sit down on his own sofa, and you hear May from the kitchen, I just vacuumed that, please don't sit down on that with your grimy clothes. So then he stands on the couch and starts rubbing his shoes into it as he's reading the paper. So May from the kitchen starts going on about how they're having this Perusian special and they can't make it away. She's like, you better be here when the microwave dings. And then you just see him staring off. And he's, he feels like he's going crazy. And then next thing you know, you cut to him holding like a samurai sword. He's like, enough is enough, May. It's gotta stop. So then he goes to slice down at her. And he's just holding the newspaper the whole time, being like, oh, I was just imagining that. That wasn't really happening. Just not yet, at least. And he walks in the kitchen. He's like, wow, May, this looks really good. The plate matches the kitchen and the chairs and stuff, and green and yellow and everything. If it came to cooking, you'd be a really great decorator. And then she goes to turn the light off, and Donald's like, no use, May, I've already seen it. It's not going to make it any different for me to eat it. And she turned the light off so that she could light a candle and stuff. And he's like, we don't need the atmosphere changed or anything. So she lights this bowl. It looks like an oil bowl of some sort. And then the whole thing goes up in flames. He's like, what are you doing, man? You're trying to burn the house down? So she gets the fire under control. He makes a joke about being like, yeah, we have a bunch of friends go over. At least we got a bunch of cocktails in that bowl for them if they want some. So then she starts sitting down and being like, so maybe the moon, might get you in the mood to do something else later, huh? Wink, wink. Because she just wants to get laid and he could care less. And then she's like, I don't even remember the last time you made love with me. He's like, I remember it was April 1962. It was the afternoon. I can't remember anything else. And then she's like, just so you know, men, as she slaps her chest, being like, still find me super attractive. He's like, well, how would I know them? I didn't attend the Braille Institute. Well, how am I supposed to know what men find you attractive? And he doesn't want to eat dinner, and she's getting pissed off. She's like, it's delicious, as she's spitting her food all over the place. And he's just like, why can't you just cook something normal for once? Just like a sandwich, a shepherd's pie, some potatoes, just, something simple, May. And then she starts going on being like how, he doesn't know how to appreciate good things, and that Napoleon the dog eats better than he does. And he looks down at the dog, and it looks like he's eating a bowl of hamburger. And he's like, May, you're right. He definitely does. It's now the next day at work, and we see Donald taking a can of dog food and putting it on some bread and getting ready to eat, being like, that's the best thing I got. And then out of nowhere, Roosevelt just peeks through a broken swath of fence and just starts walking through the construction site. And then one of the guys like, oh, mama, what are you doing here, huh? You want some hard-working hands here? Anyways, the skinny construction guy's like, I get it. I dig it. You like the strong muscle guys. Starts to flex, and he's like a toothpick. And she just walks away being like, so what you guys building around here, huh? I'm always very fascinated what men can do with their hands. She goes on about how strong and healthy construction workers are. She's like, ooh, do you know that one over there? He's like, yeah, I know him. He's flexing, working out like an I-beam, but you can tell it's not real metal or anything. And the guy's like, yeah, I know him. You want to go over and meet him? He's a real cool guy. I'll introduce you. I'll set you up with him. Anyways, he takes Roosevelt over to this muscular guy, and she puts her hand on his chest, and he starts freaking out, being like, oh, don't do that. I told you not to do that. I'm going to break out in a rash. And that guy just walks away laughing. And we see Donald leaving. He's in his car, and this old lady, I'm assuming that he says is a lady, but I'm assuming it's a guy in a costume. Full cloak suit with a cane, slowly walking across the street. He's like, hey, come on, lady, you're only walking across the street, not the Great Plain. Can you come on, hurry up? I got places to be. And then he's like, actually, I got nowhere to be. Then we see Sam waking Donald up at the bar. He's like, this place isn't a bar, it's a cat house, it's a confessional, it's a inn, pretty much at this point in time. Hey, Donald, you gotta wake up, you gotta go home, man. You gotta get out of my bar. Come on, go. It's now completely dark. It's full nighttime. Donald drove home drunk. Kids, don't ever do that, okay? That's a no, don't do it. It's in a movie. It's just in a movie. It's not real. Anyways, he comes home and he sees his neighbor outside in her lingerie petting her cat. And he's like, oh, what a nice pussy. And she's like, yeah, I know it is. And then we have drunk Donald coming into the home, and May May's still been sitting at the table getting ready to eat dinner. He's like, I want a bologna sandwich and I want it now. You got my order. I want my sandwich. And then May gets all pissed off. She's like, why are you coming home all drunk? You're asking for a bologna sandwich, a peasant bologna sandwich. I've been slaving over that microwave all damn day making your dinner. You know that, right? Donald then goes to get a drink of water, then spits it all over her food. And she's like, you pig. He's like, yeah, I'm a pig, and this place should look like a pigsty. So then he gets a vacuum cleaner and starts dumping the dirt from the bag all over the furniture. Also, by the look of this couch, there's a giant ass stain on the back of it. I'm not sure if it's a water stain or somebody really had to go pee. I'm really not too sure. It doesn't look good. You're seeing that everything else in the goddamn house looks nice. There's gold statues all over the place. There's fancy flower pots, everything. But then you got this couch that has a stain that's like half the length of it. Out of nowhere, as Donald's wrecking the place, he literally pulls out, his Johnson and starts peeing on the flower pot on the table. And May's like, wow, there is something actually wrong with you, isn't there, Donald? He's like, what made you think, huh? And May starts going on about the food again. She's like, it's a delicacy food. It's cheap. It makes my food budget go far. He's like, I'm going to make it go far. And he goes to get ready to throw it out the front door. And she's so cheap in that sense that she puts the food on paper plates, because then she dumps the food all over his head. And he's not very happy about it. So then he starts to choke her out. So then as he's choking her out, he grabs the giant salt and pepper shaker and starts beating her in the head with it, and he puts a little bit on his hand, throws it over his shoulder for good luck or whatever the reasoning is, I forget now, and then he just keeps going back and whale her in the head until she stops moving. And now it's the next morning, and he's standing outside to get the newspaper, and he's like, oh wow, my head really hurts, I got a real big headache. May, you got my lunch ready yet, May? So then he goes to check the lunchbox, and there's nothing in the lunchbox. He's like, you didn't have my lunch ready at all. He's like, actually, it's probably not that big of a deal, actually, to be honest with you. So then as he's ready to go to work, he's like, I'm late, I'm going to leave. And then he's like, I'm starving. He looks over at the microwave. He's like, I wonder if there's anything in here. So he opens up the microwave. He's like, May's in the microwave. Closes the door and goes to walk away. And he's like, oh, May's in the microwave. Oh no. So now he's starting to realize what's happened. He's like, oh, well, May's in the microwave. That's how she would have wanted to go. And he's like, well, she's not actually gone just yet. So, he turns on the microwave. So then we see Donald showing up at work, and he's going over to the van where everyone else is eating. He's grabbing a sandwich. He's like, well, what do we owe your presents here, Donald? Your lady's going to kill you once she sees you eating that sandwich. He's like, oh, you're talking about May? Ha, we're getting divorced. She's leaving. I don't have to worry about her at all. And then we cut to him inside of his garage, and he's cutting May's body up into pieces. He's got her head cut off, and he's taking her arm right now and severing off the hand. He's opening up the fridge that's in the garage, and we see all this goddamn meat. The whole fridge is just full of meat. He's like, man, you could have been making normal meals the whole time. You got all this meat here, and now I got to throw a whole bunch of stuff out just to make room for your body to go in. He's like, I got to make all this room for me. I don't want her to spoil any more than she already was. And boy, she was already spoiled. So we see Donald waking up. He's passed out, drunk, on his sofa, and this TV ad comes on, or it's a TV program, and it's talking about crimes and whatnot. And the one guy is saying, this guy almost got away with the perfect crime, but the only way you get away with the perfect crime is if you eat all the evidence. And then he's thinking to himself, being like, oh, I gotta eat May, huh? I can do that. Then it's later that night, and Napoleon's howling. I'm not sure how this little dog howls so loud, but he's howling at the garage door, like the side door that goes from the house into the garage. And Donald's like, hey, dog, go away, shoo. Come on, shoo. There's nothing in there for you. And then he goes into the garage, and he's like, there's all this food here. I might as well just eat something I put in the garbage can. So then he starts munching on it. And it's actually May's hand that fell over. He's like, wow, this is really good and disgusting at the same time. But he doesn't realize it's May's hand at this point in time. He's like, this is really good. I might have underestimated May's taste, Maybe she was a good cook. And then he takes the rest of the tinfoil off with the piece of meat that he's eating. And he's like, it's May's hand. And he's like, I'll keep munching on it. And now it's the next day at the construction site. Donald's already on lunch break. He's eating this giant piece of meat. It looks like a rib or something. And two of the guys come over and be like, wow, look at you. What are you eating this today? Look at that. Look at the size of that piece of meat. Come on, don't tell me that's a drumstick, man. What are you eating? He's like, well, May's gone, so I've been, feasting for myself. And, I've been, tenderizing my own meat and preparing myself. You want to try a bite? And both the guys try the meat, and they're like, wow, this is fantastic, man. This is the best meat I've ever tried in my life, man. If you can bring some more of this meat, I would definitely love to eat some of it. He's like, well, you guys, if you guys really do like it as much as you say you do, I got a lot more at home. I could probably bring in some more tomorrow. I'm still working on my, my perfect recipe. I know it's a little tough right now, but, I'll make sure to tenderize it a little bit more. And then we see him doing a scene where he's doing like a shish kebab kind of thing, and he's putting on like the peppers and some onions and whatnot, and then we just see May's hand go in between everything, and then there's some more peppers and whatnot, and he's getting ready to cook it up that way. Then we see Donald sitting at Sam's bar. He's like, hey, it's too late. You can spill your drink on the bar all you want, but don't be spilling out your heart. I don't want to hear it. I don't get paid enough to hear it, so just shut up. He's like, no, I just want to hang out, just see how you're doing, bud. Then as Donald's sitting at the bar, there's this lady sitting on the other end of the bar, and she's doing up her lip gloss or lip chap or whatnot, and it's just staring at Donald, and Donald looks over, and then he starts drinking his drink. He's shaking the whole time, being like, oh god, the pretty lady of the night staring at me, and I don't know what to do. And then Sam's like, there's the door. How about you go use it? I'm tired of you just sitting at my bar and not ordering anything. So then this lady gets kicked out of the bar, and then Donald watches her walk away, and then he's like, maybe I'm going to go outside after her, maybe see how she's doing. And then Donald goes over to talk to her as she's outside. He's like, hey, miss, I didn't really think it was nice of Sam to kick you out like that. I didn't think it was, a big deal for you to be friendly towards the customers and not be drinking, and to get kicked out of the bar like that. I didn't think it was very nice of him to do that. Then as they're talking, Donald's like, hey, miss, you just, so you know, you look even better in the dark. She's like, yeah, so do you. Do you know anywhere else so we can go that's even darker? He's like, you and me go somewhere darker? I don't know what to do with you. Then we cut back to Donald's house, and she's on the couch in her bra and underwear, and he's just cleaning up a bunch of stuff. He's like, Wednesday, it's laundry day. And then she's like, yeah, Wednesday was laundry day. You said you had to take out the garbage, you had to walk the dog, you had to vacuum, you had to go defrost the freezer. I've just been sitting here naked almost on the couch the whole time, just waiting. So then she pushes him down on the couch and gets on top of him. He's like, hey, it's been a real long time since I puffed up these pillows. Should probably give them a good smack around a little bit. So they start doing the deed on the couch, fully dressed still, and Donald's making some silly-ass sounds as he's, pumping. And then next thing you know, he grabs his sunflower-looking pillow, or it's a flower pillow, it's not actual sunflower, and he just pushes it on her head and just starts suffocating her, and then within like 2 seconds she is dead. And he grabs smoke. He's like, I haven't had one of these since 1962. Might as well smoke one now. He's like, sometimes cigarettes just taste perfect. He's like, is this for after sex though, or just before dinner? And then we see him carrying the DDD girl, that was her name, because she makes a joke that her mom stuttered, so that's what she got named. And then he's throwing her down on the chopping board, this giant island. He's like, better get ready to chop you up, I guess. And it just so happens to be that he keeps an axe in the kitchen now, just for safekeeping, I guess. It was later that night, and then we see Donald going into the garage where he's got the fridge open. He's like, hey, May, how's it going? I gotta say something, looking at you for the last 30 years every morning. Seeing now, it's something I gotta make some space in here, though. I gotta make some space for DDD. She's gonna be your new friend, alright, May? And now it's the next morning. We just see this random homeless guy going for some garbage cans outside of Donald's house, and he finds a severed hand, doesn't think anything of it, and then uses said severed hand to scratch his own crotch and walks away. Then we see Donald at like a store, like a hardware store. He's like, I just came in for some household goods. By chance, you wouldn't have like a 6-foot cooking sheet by chance, would you? And the clerk's like, no, sorry, man. We just sold all out of it, to be honest with you. And he's like, well, how about 10-gallon mason jars then? You gotta have those, right? And the clerk's like, get out of here. What kind of creep are you? Come on, get out of here. All these damn creeps come in my damn store. And then we just have this random lady laying on a table, naked, as some mayo is being put on her body with a giant-ass knife. And then we see a giant-ass piece of bread go on top of her, and she screams as the knife starts to cut her in half. And then we just see Donald walking down the street looking at a giant billboard ad for mayonnaise. And then he sees this lady in a chicken suit being like, hey, what are you doing in the chicken suit? You should come home with me. Then we see Donald home with her, and she's like, I thought we were going to eat. I thought you were a leg man, not a breast man. And she's on the couch topless at this point in time. And he's like, we're going to eat. She's like, well, I thought we were going to eat already. He's like, oh, well, I got to prepare the meat first, though. And the next thing you know, we just see a cutting board, and we see a severed foot on it. And then we see Donald talking to a shrink, being like, I don't know what happened, Dad. I just don't know what's going on in my life lately, to be honest with you. And then Donald's going on being like, yeah, I've got really good since May left. I've been eating really good, been screwing a lot of good whores. And then we see the psychiatrist who's in a rocking chair, just snoring away in his rocking chair. There's flies flying around. He's like swatting them in his sleep. And Donald's just talking the whole time, not realizing that the shrink's not even listening to him one bit. Donald's expressing his feelings and saying everything to the doctor. And then he realizes the dog's fully asleep. He's like, I feel great. He's like, hey, doc. You weren't listening to me at all. He's like, oh, yeah, you sound like you're fine. You sound like you're fine. Don't worry about it. Donald, everything's okay. And of course, Donald doesn't realize that the psychiatrist didn't hear a damn thing. So now the psychiatrist is telling Donald to do everything that he wants, to pretty much do all the horrendous things to the women that he wants to do, and that they'll love him for it, and that, they'll be happy for him to go eat, in terms, and that they'll lose their head for him. And then next thing we know, we see him cutting up another body and putting it in the microwave to cook. So then we see the microwave ding, and he goes over to take a look at how his food is coming. And then he starts to have a massive heart attack while standing beside the microwave. But he seems to be able to work it out. He kind of starts controlling his breathing. And then next thing you know, he's putting more stuff into the fridge. He's like, hey, May, how's it going? Look, I've got to knock her head out here, though, to make room for all this extra meat I got. And he goes to pick up May's head that was on the ground, and then he goes to pick her up, and then the head is gone. So then he shuts the fridge door, being like, where'd her head go? And then now the head is on the stand beside the fridge, and then he looks away again, and then the head's gone yet again. He's like, what's going on with my life? And then he finds a head inside the house somewhere. And then someone's knocking on the door. So then he picks up the severed May head by the front door, and he opens the door. It's one of May's friends being like, where's May? I've been calling her for days, and nobody answers. He's like, the phone's off the hook. I don't know where May is. We're not together anymore. She's gone. She's fine somewhere, but not here. And then she hears some glass breaking. She's like, what's that? He's like, I've been teaching Napoleon to wash his own dishes. He's not too good at it, though. Napoleon being the dog, of course. Then we see Donald sneak down to the bedroom. He puts May's severed head in the bed and puts like a fake body in the bed. He's like, you gotta come down to see May. She's awfully tired. She's kind of sleeping. So then the friend looks at May and be like, she looks awfully pale. You sure she's okay? And then she butts into the room and goes to check on May. And then the head moves, but it's not attached to anything. So she starts freaking out. So then Donald comes up behind her and starts choking her out until she passes out. So then he's like, oh, great. What am I going to do with her? He's like, oh, God. What? No, I can't do her. And he's like, oh, no. And he just starts making like a puking sound because he's like, I'm not killing her and eating her. No way, not happening. So next thing we know, we see her tied up in a closet because apparently she just, maybe he got some chloroform and made her pass out. I'm not too sure. I didn't see the chloroform part, but he did put something on her mouth. So then we see Donald talking to his doctor, and he's talking about a pacemaker. He's like, it's not going to affect you too much. It's regular mechanical. You're just going to have to, keep it tuned up or, up to date, clean, everything. I don't know what they're going on about. He's like, so I'm going to have to, instead of regular checkups, I'm going to have to have regular tune-ups. Okay, yeah, that sounds about right. So then the doctor's putting the stethoscope, I don't know what the name is, he's putting it on his chest to try and hear his heartbeat, and then Donald has to grab his hand and move it to the right side. He's like, sorry, I used to practice on myself with the mirror. I have a hard time finding the heart. He's like, oh, good, you got a great doctor. Then the doctor's looking at his charts and he's like, oh, wow, you're actually healthier than you were last time you came in. What's your secret? He's like, oh, well, since May left, I've just been doing a lot better. He's like, oh, you are what you eat, so that makes sense. He's like, oh, I sure hope not. And we see Donald and his two other co-workers sitting down for lunch, and the one guy's reading the paper being like, hey, dig this, guys. Several Fox's ladies have been gone missing in the same area of town. That's really crazy, huh, guys? And they come to find out these suspicious abductions have happened in the same area that Donald happens to live. He's like, I haven't seen anything at all. So Donald is driving down the road. There's this lady with her thumb up for hitchhiking. He stops. He's like, what can I do for you? He's like, I thought you were going to tell me I had a flat tire or something. She's like, nah, I just want to ride. So she takes him home, and she starts to undress as soon as she's in the living room, and we hear some thunder. And she looks outside all confused, and it's still sunny outside. So I'm not sure why there was thunder at that point in time. And then he's like, here I come. I had to change into something more appropriate. So he puts on the apron and grabs some kitchen knives. And she's like, oh, what are we doing? And then we just cut to him cutting her up. And then as he's cutting her up, he's holding her hand and being like, too many bones. And he just tosses the hand behind him. It's like, it's got the same amount of bones as anyone else. Why are you saying too many bones? Maybe not enough fat because she's really skinny. Maybe not enough meat on the bones, I guess. It's now the next morning, and I was going to skip this scene, but it's very unique, I guess. We see the neighbor who likes to get on with multiple people. She's outside on the front yard digging a hole with a vibrator, and I have no idea why. And he just looks over her being like, what the hell are you doing? So now it's the end of the day. The guys are getting ready to leave from work, and they're talking about their plans for the night. And I guess they're going to go to the wrestling at the Dome event. And then we see Donald back at home, where he's still cutting up that lady that he just murdered the night before. And now it's complete darkness outside, full on nighttime. And we see his coworkers getting ready to show up because, they're all going to the wrestling event together. We hear them knocking on the door, and they're like, hey, Donald, you're holding up the party, dude. Come on, bro. Where are you? So they all, both of them. I don't know why I said all. Both of them start coming in the house, and they're like, hey, Donald, where are you, bud? Come on, bud. And then they walk into the kitchen, and that's where they find him dead on the floor. The one coworker's like, hey, Donald, this isn't the place or the time to be sleeping. The other guy's like, I don't think he's sleeping. So they walk over to the microwave and turn on the light, and we see a bunch of hands and feet inside of it, and they start freaking out, being like, oh, God, I know we've been eating something weird. And the other coworker opens up the microwave door, and inside the microwave says, this item or electronic caution might affect pacemakers. And of course that's what happened to him, and it's like the next day or maybe sometime later, not sure how long, but the place is up for sale, and we see people taking all the furniture and whatnot out of the home. And then they open up the closet door, and that's when they find the friend still inside, tied up and gagged. And then we see someone walking through the house to get to the fridge in the garage. They open up the fridge door. We see May's head there. And then out of nowhere, her eyes just start to light up. And then the music starts to hit. And the outro credits start to roll. And that's the end of the movie. I gotta say, this movie is very weird. Very silly. The effects are silly. You can definitely tell, like, all the limbs are just, like, stuff that looks like they're from the dollar store or cheap design or whatnot. You don't see much blood and guts. You see a little bit of the blood here and there, but nothing crazy. It's still weird seeing Frosty Snowman being a cannibal. It's something I wasn't on my bingo card for this year, that's for sure. But with that being said, on the Rotten scale of 10 for this one, I'm going to give it a 4.5. It's not a horrible movie by any means. It's silly and stupid, but the concept is pretty fun and enjoyable. It's there, and the cast is unique. There's a lot of boobs in it if you want to see boobs. That's a plus, I guess, for most people. But yeah, that's the score for this one. And with that being said, we got to pick what we're watching next week. Alright, so we finally got what we're going to watch next week. It's another movie you can watch for free on Tubi. This one's a horror comedy. It's another short time period one. It's only an hour and 19 minutes. But this one's from 1988. We're going to watch Doom Asylum. The description as around Tubi. A group of teens party at an abandoned asylum, unaware it's inhabited by a deranged autopsy survivor with surgical tools and a thirst for revenge. It's going to be a fun one. I started watching this one actually a couple weeks ago, but didn't get through it because I had to go away to do some other things. So I'm looking forward to fully rewatching this one and paying full attention to it. So hopefully it's a fun one. If you guys want, definitely go check it out on Tubi for free before next week's episode. But with that being said, make sure to check out the outro band, travel-based horror band, Blood Opera. Find them on all music apps, but you can also find them on Spotify. With the new update to the podcasting app, you can actually directly link right to the band. So if you want to, after listening to this episode, you can go just click on that link and go directly to them as well and go check out some of their songs. And as always, make sure to check out all my social media links down below at Typhonstein. Follow me on anything and everything from
X to Threads to Facebook and Instagram. The main thing being that YouTube channel. Definitely go check out the YouTube channel for all your weekly game videos that drop every single Wednesday. Various shorts, community posts, on this day and horror posts, live streams, and old episodes of the podcast. Make sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on bell notifications. That way you get notified every single time I post a new video. And feel free to check out the TeePublic site. We'll have some new merch dropping soon. I'm hopefully going to be able to start banging out new designs more often for that. So Definitely keep an eye out for that. You can see the links for that down below. And I'll also post them on the Instagram, the Facebook, and the YouTube and everything else. So definitely check all that stuff out. Check out the CWC Canadian Wrestling Championship page on Instagram and Facebook as well. And there's a ton of free content on all the links down below. So until next time, I'll talk to you guys all later. Peace!
If not for the shitty.
Was it?